these beliefs that we have about money will drive the show in every sales conversation. And if you don't address the belief system with money that people have, the scarcity and the attachment to outcome will always be there.
Hey, everybody. My name is Jason Barnaby, host of the Sales Spark podcast. Welcome back for another edition. And I am so excited to welcome my good buddy, Dave Wan of Dave Wan and Company. And you can see that he's repping the brand. I'm all about branding. And so I love when people show up and they're repping the brand. Dave is a TEDx speaker. Dave is a keynote speaker. Dave is a trainer and just a mindset guru, which is why I wanted him on here, because we're going to have a conversation about money that is unlike any conversation you have ever had. So strap in, get ready to go, because we're going deep real quick. Dave, welcome to the program. So happy to have you.
Hey, Jason, I am so pumped to be here after a nice long weekend. So I'm excited to talk to you.
Your voice sounds pretty fiery too. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty stoked about that.
I have to attribute 100% of that to you, because this mic was in my mailbox last week. It arrived at my door and it arrived last week. So thank you for the amazing gift.
Absolutely. We're excited. That's one thing we have to go back and give a few retroactively, but that's something that we decided to do. And you're the first person who got it, who can actually use it. We've had some mess ups in the past, like the person wasn't at home and it got sent to home, but whatever. But super glad that you have it and very excited about how it sounds. So let's just jump right in. Let's give me the quick and dirty sales history on Dave Wan and why it is. Let's maybe start with why the TED Talk and then why the direction, but give us a little bit of background on how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, in regards to the TED Talk and why I did the TED Talk, that all originated from like a lot of pain that I experienced back in 2016. I bought my house in Colorado Springs, and I suffered numerous panic attacks over a 2 to 3 month period, and I thought I was going to die.
Wow.
I didn't think I was going to make it. It sounds crazy, like saying that. It's like, how do you die from that, right? But the pain was so immense and so it's insanely painful that I was like, all right, this is it.
Did you realize it was a panic attack at the time? Did you know that's what was happening?
I've had like many panic attacks like over the course of my life, but this one was like heart throbbing. Like it felt like my heart was coming out of my chest.
Wow.
And I was waking up with my heart rate. My heart beating was like 96 beats per minute.
Wow.
And I was just waking up. And usually when you wake up, you should be relaxed. You should be calm. Yeah. But my heart was just pounding and I didn't know why. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should go work out and shake it off. And I'm fairly active, but like I couldn't even lift a weight and like have the energy to even do anything.
Wow.
So I'd go to the gym and I'd try, bench pressing a little bit, and I'm like, I can't do this. So I walked away. And that happened for like 3 months or so.
Wow. So I want to pause for just a second. Tell us the name of your TED Talk.
The title is You're Not Bad with Money.
Okay. And so you were having these panic attacks. Were you aware of the underlying reason of what was causing these panic attacks at the time that they were happening?
Zero. None.
Zero. Okay. So walk us through, like, what did that look like? You're having this, it's going on for 3 months. When did the epiphany, when was the aha moment of like, oh shit, that's what this is?
Yeah. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So when I bought the house, I started having these panic attacks, and then I thought it was the house that was causing the problem. It was great investment. Like, I don't even know why it was, but I looked at it and I'm like, I'm walking away from this. So I listed my house back on the market just to recoup the 6% fee. Right?
Wow. Because it was freaking, it freaked you out that badly?
I didn't know what it was. I couldn't pinpoint it, but I thought it was the house, right? So I put the house back on the market a couple weeks later, and fortunately it did not sell. But what I was trying to do is I was trying to run away from that pain. I was trying to run away from that fear.
Mm.
It's like Jonah in the Bible escaping what God was trying to say,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And then he suffered the consequences as a result of that.
Wow.
But in this time period, I wasn't able to sell the house, so it forced me to dig deeper and
Yeah.
go, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. What did that digging deeper look like?
I'm a fairly curious person, so I
Right.
just kept asking myself, like, why is this happening? And like, why am I feeling this way?
So you were doing this introspectively and by yourself. You weren't
100%.
necessarily doing this with a therapist or a peer group or somebody who knew you well. It was all internal for the most part.
All internal,
Okay.
zero assistance. Yeah, zero assistance.
Would you
I
recommend
mean, I
would you
guess
recommend that approach now looking back on that?
zero. No, I would not.
Okay.
Um, I mean, there's benefits to it, but it took way too long because that introspection took 6 years. It wasn't just like a 1 month thing or a 1 week thing. It took 6 years for me to like for the light. Imagine like a dimmer, like the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
light slightly goes on. You're like,
Sure.
oh, what is that?
Yeah.
And then it just kept getting brighter and brighter. And it took about 6 years for the light bulb to be fully on.
Wow.
But I just had to ask myself, okay, so I bought the house. Why is the house freaking me out?
Mhm.
And then I started to hear stories that were in my upbringing, like buying a house and what if the market drops
Right.
and now you're out all this money and you have to foreclose. I just remember like my parents wanting to buy a house, but they never could. And they always
Sure.
backed out on some of these things. So these stories of like backing out, resistance, hesitancy, like came back at me and I just didn't know why. Um, but then like that was like the top layer. When you go beneath that, it's like, oh, so there's fear underneath that. So what's that
Mhm.
fear telling me? And what's that fear telling me? So I'm asking myself why like 5 to 7 times to go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Wow.
And but that panic attack like really just set my life on a different trajectory. And fast forward 6 years later, I just had like all these realizations. And then I zoomed out a little bit and I'm like, wow, so many people are struggling with this in a lot of different ways.
When you say this, what do you mean by this?
Um, so there's like emotional, behavioral, and like money beliefs
Uh-huh.
that are formed over the course of our lives
Okay.
that are actually driving our decision making when it comes to money. And everybody and all the noise out there is just talking about money as a tool, money as numbers,
Yeah.
and I thought that was it. And I'm like, okay, why did I go through this panic attack? Even though I'm budgeting my money, I'm spending less than I make, I'm keeping track of everything, and I still went through this panic attack. And I just
I
kept
think
digging
that
deeper and deeper and deeper.
I think that's really important because people could be listening and saying, well, maybe you overspent on the house or maybe you're a bad budgeter. Like, let me just like I know you. We've gotten to know each other pretty well. Like y- you don't just spend money to spend money. Like you're very thoughtful about it. You're not I wouldn't say you're uptight. Like I know you go on nice vacations. I know you have nice things. Like it's not one of the you're not driving around like a 1975 beater because, you've got to save that money. So what I think is really interesting here is that you're you have this house, you should be really excited. It's an investment. It was I'm sure you got a pretty good deal. You're in a decent market. Um and and all of this time it's it's freaking you out. You're having these panic attacks.
And I
And
had to ask myself why. Like, why is this happening?
exactly.
Even though I'm doing the right things, why is this happening? Or even though I think I'm supposed to be doing the right things, why is this happening? And so that's when I realized there are these like subconscious, below the surface dynamics,
Yeah.
belief systems, patterns,
Yeah.
habits, emotions, feelings that are actually driving my decision making. And so it's not it's not numbers that drive your decision making. It's the emotion behind those numbers that's driving your decision making. That This is not a new concept, but it took me 6 years to figure out.
Why do you think it took you so long? Because I have to believe that there are people who are listening to this who are like, "Holy shit, that
There are
sounds
people that don't figure
just
this
like."
out for their
Well,
entire
right.
lives.
But I have to believe that there are people who are listening to this going, "Yeah, wow, I've had those, like, I can relate to that." Um, why do you think it took 6 years?
So the sixth year is I just started to make sense of all this, right? And digging up stories takes some time, right?
Digging up
Uh,
stories from your past.
Past, yeah. So
Uh-huh.
like, I don't dwell on them. I don't want people to dwell on them,
Sure.
but it was important for me to understand it so I could have perspective and awareness because the goal is to overcome them,
Sure.
right? The sixth year, I saw a TED talk of another lady. I forget her name, but she talked about how her brother committed suicide because of some of these emotional, or not emotional, but like financial stress,
Sure.
distress. The lady's brother committed suicide, and she like went to his house and like saw like his statements and stuff, and just saw like just a bunch of chaos that she
Mhm.
never even knew was happening. and
Wow.
then and then she dug beneath that layer and went, oh, this is why it actually happened.
Wow.
So I saw that, and then I saw that she was a certified money coach, and I'm like, what is that? And then it led me to a lady named Deborah Price, who is the founder and CEO of the Money Coaching Institute. And she's been working on this for a very long time. So that's when it clicked. I had a call with her. I'm now a certified money coach. And so it's like I'm taking all the things that I've learned over the 6 year journey and go, oh, I went from this point to this point. I'm in such a better spot now. But that sixth year was when I found her, and it was like the last nail in the coffin type of
So
thing,
when you
right?
say that things clicked, give us an example of some things that clicked for you. The aha moment where you went, "Oh, this thing over here coincides and relates to this thing here, and because of that thing here, I'm behaving in this way." Uh, Run that journey for us. Put those pieces together.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you an example. So,
Yep.
whether we uh, there's a thing out there that says, Jason, are you a saver or a spender? What money personality are you?
Right.
I think that's a terrible question,
Tell
right?
us why.
Because the reason why it's a terrible question is because both things are actually really good things,
Hmm.
but both things could also be bad things. The
Ooh.
emotion behind that action is what matters more.
Say that one
What's
more time.
the
That's important.
emotion? The emotion behind the action is what matters more than the
Whether you're a
action
saver or
itself.
a spender.
Yeah. So
I like
so
that twist.
I bought like a brand new truck in 2010, or 2012. Sorry, 2012, 2013. I was deployed overseas, and they had like a really just great deal for military folks out there.
Yeah.
I was moving to Los Angeles right after that. There's no reason for me to buy a truck. I don't have kids. I don't have a family. I don't
Right.
have a lot of stuff. I'm a minimalist. Like I live in a one bedroom apartment type of thing. Like it's just I just don't need a truck.
I'll just say that I have a military son and I've been on a lot of military bases. There are a lot of trucks on military bases, dude. There
There
are a
is.
lot of trucks for a lot of single dudes, like double cab. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So I had all these like logical, rational reasons as to why I bought the truck. I'm
Right.
moving across the country.
Sure.
I need space to haul
I
things.
love the need word. I need it.
Yeah. And I love going on big trips with friends, so having a big vehicle is going to help.
Sure.
I also did the math and it fits in my budget.
There you go.
So there we go.
Why
It's
not?
super logical, right?
Right.
But the reason why I bought the truck was not because of anything, but my desire for people's approval.
Oh, snap. So I want to pause here for just a second because what you just said is so And if you're listening to this right now and you're a salesperson and you're getting those big old bonus checks and buying stuff, Dave, how long did it take you to realize that that was the motivator for the truck? Did you realize while you had it, or was this like part of the journey of the 6 years and like looking back?
I don't know if like it was very obvious to me that that was the reason why I was behaving the way I did. I wasn't. I couldn't tell you that,
Okay.
but my logical reasons were the reasons why I would tell everybody else why I bought the
Of
truck.
course.
But right behind that, I knew that wasn't like 100% true, but I
Mhm.
didn't speak it out loud. But I also couldn't
Mhm.
explain what that really was.
Okay, fair.
And so when you look behind that layer, you go, why do I need people's approval? And so you just
Mhm.
like dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And
Yeah,
then this is when these stories like all start to connect. And those connecting points it could take some time,
sure.
right? One of the things that I say, you know, a lot of sellers have, or a lot of salespeople know that buyers buy with emotion, then justify it with logic.
Okay.
I was that buyer in that situation,
Sure.
right? So imagine somebody selling me that truck. I was that buyer. I bought with emotion, not happy, sad emotion. Oh, it's a sunny day today. I'm happy today. That's not the emotion I'm talking
Sure.
about. They're like deeper rooted emotions that are always there and you don't really see them every single day
Sure.
or really understand them. That's what was driving it, but then I justified it with logic. That's what every buyer does,
Yeah.
right? We're emotional beings. We buy with emotion, but then we justify it with logic.
And I'm just gonna ask people that are listening, pause right now and think of the last big purchase that you made, and what was the logic that you bought that made that purchase with? Not saying that the logic is bad, not saying that it's flawed, not saying that it's a bad idea or that you need to feel guilty, but I'm curious, as Dave has said multiple times, just below the surface, if you can be honest with yourself about why you really bought that thing.
A lot of these emotions, I'm going to list off like just a handful of them.
Sure.
There's a lot, but I'm just going to list off a handful of them. Uh, Fear,
Mhm.
and you could dissect fears. It could go in a lot of different
Sure.
directions. Okay. Uh, Safety,
Yeah.
security,
Mhm.
success, power,
Mm.
comfort, control, approval. So I just
Those
listed off a handful, but
those are
like
powerful.
these are the ones that are driving so many of our decisions. And I'm not saying they're good, bad, or indifferent, but if you're not wanting some sort of desired outcome or you're not reaching a desired outcome, instead of blaming the logic or the rationale behind it, look at the emotion that's
Mhm.
driving it
Mhm.
or the belief that's driving it. So one thing I say is like you've heard the phrase buyers buy with emotion then
Mm.
justify with logic.
Mhm.
And in my keynote, I cross off the word buyers buy and then I write sellers sell.
Mm.
So sellers sell with emotion, then justify it with logic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So there's a company I used to work for, and their prices and fees were just skyrocketing like crazy.
Mhm.
And I had more closed lost opportunities that year than I would have liked.
Okay.
And it was really easy for me to blame why I had these closed lost opportunities on the price increases. Clearly, prices skyrocket, people walk away.
You're certainly
That's
not the first salesperson to make that connection and use that excuse.
but I look back on my career in that company and I'm like, whoa, I was blaming them, but it had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with me.
Interesting.
I was projecting my own definition of expensive as if it should be the client's definition of expensive.
Oh.
I let my own sensitivity around price as if it should be the client's sensitivity around price. So my belief system that money was hard to come by, whenever you get money kind of goes through your fingers, you you lose it right away.
Mhm.
Money is You shouldn't talk about money in the household.
Mhm.
Money is scarce.
Mhm.
some of these beliefs that we have as salespeople, we bring it to the conversation because every single email, touch point, call, meeting, opportunity, anything in sales, literally every touch point, there's money on the line.
Yes.
If you screw up this conversation, even though it has nothing to do with the product or service you're selling, you're making an impression on them. Every little touch point is an interview,
Absolutely agree
right?
with that.
And
Yep.
so if you screw up that conversation and you make it about yourself and go, oh, this is really expensive, or this is so expensive that maybe I should discount right away because
Mhm.
you think it's expensive.
Mhm.
Based on who?
Right.
Based on my definition,
Right.
right? Maybe people talk about coming across as desperate or being attached to outcomes. Instead of saying, don't be attached to outcomes, just forget about it. It's important to understand why we're attached to outcomes. And it's
Yeah.
because money is on the line every single time. And whenever money's on the line every single time, these beliefs that we have about money will drive the show in every sales conversation.
So I'm going to take this back a little bit to the first episode that I had with Brian Neal, where we talk a lot. I mean, in his company, and it's really where I learned this concept for the first time, this idea of scarcity versus abundance, and the and I can tell you that I have experienced firsthand coming to the market from a scarcity perspective and things not selling and me going, why is this not happening? Now that I have done a lot of work on that and I'll say most because I don't think I've arrived. I'm not sure I ever will. But most of the time I'm coming with abundance. It changes the energy, it changes the outcome, it changes the approach. But what you're saying is this scarcity mentality that we have, this fear of losing control, fear of what at power, fear of influence, not having it. What you're saying is that more often than not, those things are right there underneath the surface, and those are driving our sales conversations with our clients, and we don't even realize it. Is that right?
Yeah. I don't believe you could tell a salesperson, just think more abundantly and turn that light switch off. Because everything is tied to money. Like I said, all roads in sales leads to money. And so whenever money's on the line, which is literally everything, these beliefs will spill over every single time and it will dictate how you operate in your role as a sales professional.
Okay.
So maybe you're sticking to smaller deals because every time a bigger deal comes up to play, you just shit the bed.
Ooh.
Maybe you invest more time in playing it safe, right? Like the stay small to stay safe mentality. And
Hmm.
so maybe you invest in smaller deals bigger than bigger deals because those bigger numbers scare the crap out of you.
Right.
So on paper, you might be a really good salesperson because you're closing all these opportunities. You're like 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 2 for 3, 3 for 5, 4 for 7, 4 for 6, whatever that might be.
Sure.
Like I have 10 leads that come my way. I close 9 of them every time. Great. But are you avoiding some of these opportunities because
Oh,
these
that's such a good
numbers? But
question.
here's the thing. The manager, the sales leader will never know it. That's the thing.
Right.
They will never hear it. I will never You will never see a sales professional go to their boss and say, "Hey boss, by the way, I only stick to smaller deals because I'm afraid of those bigger numbers." They're not going to say that.
No,
Or
never.
maybe the anxious person has a major scarcity mindset and they're afraid of where their next deal is going to come from. So what they do is they stick to these opportunities, and in the CRM they might be like, "Oh, I'm at 50%." You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
$500,000 deal, 50% in the pipeline. It's $250,000 in the pipeline, and the boss is like trying to forecast all this and tell their bosses what our
Sure.
next quarter's numbers are going to look like. But those numbers, those numbers are off because I remember doing this. I was afraid that I wasn't gonna get another deal, so I kept that thing alive, even though I needed to let it die.
That's I've this is and
'Cause
this
I was afraid that I was going to not get another one. And
right.
and if you don't address the belief system with money that people have at a very high level, like
Sure.
I don't go deep like I did with myself, but like at a high level,
Right.
if you don't address these money beliefs, the scarcity and the attachment to outcome will always be there.
And
And you
I think that's really worth drilling down on a little bit. So you may be listening and you've been a very successful salesperson. I would challenge you to look at, have you stayed small on purpose? Have you passed up bigger deals? Because sometimes we think like, well, I'm not as good as so and so, or I could never close that deal, or who am I to get into that market? My niche is here in this market. Who are you not to? And and if you're listening, listen to what Dave is saying, that there are things that are here that you're not even aware of that are driving so much of this behavior that we're not even aware of. So Dave, as a salesperson listening to you, if I'm listening and I go, I think this dude's onto something and I think I agree with that. Tell us how do you help salespeople, help organizations? Tell us some of what you've learned that you are now teaching others that helps us scratch past the surface and get through some of this stuff.
That's a great question. So I have a framework that I came up with. It's called Unlock.
Okay.
Okay. So U stands for uncovering patterns. So, what are some of the patterns that you see in your own role as a salesperson? And I'll give a list of like quite a few. And depending on the industry that I'm working in,
Mhm.
these will look a little different,
Yeah,
right? For like financial services, for example,
sure.
that's
My
an
old
industry.
stomping ground.
That's an industry that I've like supported.
Yep.
Um, a money driven sales behavior in that industry for financial advisors, let's just say, or wealth managers could be projecting your own risk tolerance onto your client as if it should be theirs.
Ooh, the projection thing. Yeah, that's
Or
huge.
let's say you're selling, permanent or whole life insurance or whatever, and you're thinking, oh man, this $2,500 monthly premium is expensive. Expensive for who? Me, not them, right? You didn't do
Right.
that work yet.
Right.
And and as a result, you skip over a lot of those features and you might recommend a lower policy, a much lower policy. And so as a result, how much money are you leaving on the table
Right.
for the firm as a result of these beliefs? So on paper, you're like, oh, I just closed the deal. Some guy signed up for term life insurance policy, a term policy. And, you know, on paper, you're one for one.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
you
Okay.
internally know that you just lost out on a lot of potential commission, right?
Right.
But it's not even about you though. If you focus on yourself unknowingly because of these money beliefs that you have, you don't do a deep enough discovery because you're like,
Mhm.
if I don't close this deal by the end of the quarter, I'm going to lose out on that commission, and so therefore if I don't get that money in the bank, I fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I can't pay off debt, I can't go on this vacation, I can't pay my mortgage, I can't save for retirement, I can't fill in the blank.
Right.
And then
So I don't know if you want to give us
you don't serve that client. You don't serve that client to their need because you didn't do that this deep enough discovery.
sure.
Sorry, that's you. So you got to uncover some of these patterns that you have.
Yep.
N N is navigating your story. And so
Okay.
in your story, there's different themes that are going to pop up, right? It's important to understand those themes. And like I said before, you you look back to gain perspective and awareness, not to dwell on it, right?
Yep.
Because when these feelings or a situation comes up, you have to be able to identify it, shift your mindset, and kind of go around it, right? Like move out of the way and like
Sure.
overcome it. Uh, most people don't even know it's happening,
Yeah.
like the patterns that I just kind of mentioned earlier.
Yep.
L is you link these patterns to your business cost. So you look at past opportunities and go, oh, where did this negative money driven behavior
Mhm.
impact me in these conversations?
Yeah.
So you look at past opportunities, and then you also look at current opportunities. So that way you can not make that same mistake. And whatever
Sure.
current conversations you're having, I don't want you to trip over them. And I want you to close that deal and win. O is outlining a new strategy, right? And so this is a new game plan, and uh, being able to shift from a limiting belief to a
Yep.
more empowering one, right?
Okay.
And so having that shift is very important. And then C is to curate your own money mindset toolkit,
Okay.
and they're like pre-call affirmations to kind of get you recalibrated
Love that.
before every call, every meeting.
Yeah.
Um, I also talk about like different tips and tricks when it comes to tone of voice and body
Mm.
language.
Yep.
Tone of voice, for example, like whenever I'm like having upspeak, so
Yes.
hey Jason,
Yep.
you don't even know what's happening, but people
Yep.
think you're asking a question.
Yep. Or I would also say, as somebody who has taught speech and coach people in speech or presentations, that also um, evokes a feeling in your audience that you're not sure about what you're talking about. Whereas a downward inflection at the end of something presents more confidence and knowledge that what you're saying, like you're standing on that. So
Yep.
I'm really glad you brought that up.
So it's just things like that, right? And as a speaker myself, like having down speak is really important.
Yes.
I'm not perfect, but I catch myself quite a bit doing that. Body language is also important, and then K, which is the final one, is to be able to keep your commitments and track wins. So I have people write a personal contract to themselves that they're going to
Hmm.
be able to execute some of these pre-call like mindset shifts when it
Yep.
comes to money,
Yep.
and reaffirm that they are worth it. You could think abundantly, just all these things.
Yeah.
Like focus on value, focus on what the client needs, not what you need. Um, these shifts are really important, and that personal contract is important. To be able to track your wins along the way is also very important. So that's my framework. It's called the Unlock framework for sales professionals, and it's been it's been a game changer. So I've delivered that in a lot of different ways, one on one to some people, uh, speaking in front of audiences to others, and workshops as well. So
That's I'm really grateful that you shared that with us. And again, for those listening, if you didn't get this as we walked through the framework, this requires action. It requires introspection. It requires facing hard things. I'm wearing my comfortable being uncomfortable t-shirt today. You've got to get uncomfortable. And here's the other thing. You have got to, there is no shortcut for this. You have got to take action. I say a lot. If we could all get a six pack of abs by watching a YouTube video, it would be the most watched YouTube video on the planet. But you have to do the freaking work. You've got to do the work. And so, spoiler alert, if you were listening to this going, "Oh, this is going to solve my problems and here's the easy button." There is no easy button. And Dave, what I'm hearing you say is if someone is willing to walk through this and be serious about it and not take it lightly, it can considerably change your life, your satisfaction with things. It can change. I mean, it could. It. I mean, if I'm hearing you correctly and I get this right, it can change what I'm bringing home at the end of the year because I'm moving. I'm going to put this in air quotes, but I'm moving up in my mentality of why can't I be in that market? Why can't I go after that deal?
well,
Uh,
so many people, so many sellers out there. are transactional sellers, not
Yes.
relationship builders.
Yes.
And relationships take time,
Yeah.
right? But relationships, when done correctly from a business perspective, is extremely lucrative, right?
Absolutely.
And so everything I teach, the reason why people are transactional sellers, not relationship builders, is because they think about themselves,
Yes.
they think about their own needs,
Yes.
and they don't think about their clients
And yeah,
and
I
their
agree with that
and
100%.
our money beliefs are standing in the way of us doing that
Yes.
fully and authentically, and we don't even know it,
I
right?
agree
So
with that 100%.
so
And
it's
what
can I give one
Yeah.
example? It's like
Yeah.
I was on a cruise about a month ago.
Uh-huh.
Imagine a cruise, a ship trying to get to the shore, but hanging on from the back of the cruise ship is a massive anchor that you don't even know.
Mm.
If you look at the anchor, the size the anchors are huge, massive, right?
Yeah.
But compared to the size of the ship, it's a very small percentage,
Oh, I love
right?
this
So
yes.
imagine you're the cruise ship and you're
Yeah.
trying to get to the shore, which is where your
Yeah.
clients are, but you can't get there because all you're thinking about is yourself
Right?
and the money beliefs that you have. These beliefs are formed as stories in your head, and they've been forming like literally like every observation that you've had, every experience that you've had, everything
Yeah.
that you saw and heard forms these stories, and it's over the course of your life.
Sure.
And until you like, have you ever met somebody where you're talking to them about something and something comes up and it's always a money issue?
Yeah.
I can't pay that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about like a doctor's visit or something, or something new and hip that my wife is trying, and somebody else is like, well, how much does that cost?
Yeah.
It's like the first question they ask.
Yeah.
And for me, being in this role, like I am hyper aware of that and
Yeah,
I see it
totally.
all the time.
Yeah.
But if you kind of step back and like just observe, like some people, it's always a money issue. There's
Yeah.
never enough of it, or whatever the belief system that you
Sure.
have. It drives how you operate as a salesperson
Yeah.
because there's money on the line every single time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
it's really important to identify what that anchor is, and that anchor that's holding you back is your money belief.
And that yeah. Ah, that's so good. Man, I feel like we could go on and on about this because, these beliefs obviously, get rooted when in our childhood and we come back and think about, those things that we've seen. So, as an encouragement to those listening, dig into your past. It's going to be a painful thing for some of you. And if you're willing to do it, the dividends that it will pay and the ROI you will get from that are
I would
ridiculous.
say it doesn't have to be that painful,
Okay.
right? You don't have to go 5 levels deep. That's not what
Okay.
I'm asking.
Okay.
But just some of these conversations that you've heard and seen, and what are some belief systems that you have? And I have like a list of different beliefs that people have. Like money
Okay.
is everything. Imagine for somebody like money is everything, and I get that money is a prime motivator for many sellers.
Mhm.
But if they're only thinking about the money and they and add another belief system to it, like if I don't close this deal by the end of this quarter,
Mhm.
I am blank.
Yeah.
And usually that blank is I am unworthy, right?
Ooh.
So imagine if you think that way.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to be you're going to do what you can to close that deal. Now, I'm not saying not closing that deal is not important. It is important,
Sure.
right? But you need to operate from a really healthy position and a good
Yeah.
foundation versus one of desperation. Because if that happens, then you're not going to get the deal regardless.
Well, I appreciate that correction of you telling me it's not that hard, and I think that's a good motivator for folks listening to do it. I want to
No,
get to it.
it's actually. I mean, it requires a little bit of work, but it's not painful.
Right.
But like, I grew up thinking that the stock market was a massive gamble, and so therefore I held my money on tight. And if I held my money on tight, I was unwilling to let it go.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
And so going after big deals for me was scary because it's I could lose it all. If I
Yeah.
lose that deal, I don't get anything.
Right.
So might as well stick with smaller, safer clients
Sure.
that are going to give me the smaller checks because I
Yeah.
know that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a stay small to stay safe mentality. That's scarcity.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying stop being scarce or stop thinking scarcely, like just that's not going to work, right?
Right.
Like all these things are like these belief systems are so embedded in us that you have to be able to kind of break it down a little bit, which is how I did it for you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And before we go, we got to run through our rapid fire questions. Um, thank you, Dave. I feel like we could talk about this. I feel like this could be like a 4-part series. There's so much here. We will put all of Dave's contact information down in the show notes below. We'll remind you of what that framework is. Would highly recommend that you reach out to Dave to talk through this. Have him come in and talk to your salespeople. Imagine as a sales leader that you have a whole sales team that's thinking differently about money and their motivators and what that could mean for your team and what that could mean for you as a leader and for your company as a whole. So, wholeheartedly recommend Dave and what he does to come in and talk to you. All right, Dave, we're going to run through our rapid fire questions real quick. I got 5 of them and then one additional wrap up question. So, cold call, cold email, or LinkedIn DM, what's your bet and why? What would you choose?
I like LinkedIn DM.
Okay. Why?
So many people do not pick up phone calls. I don't pick up phone calls.
Yeah.
Uh, if I get a weird email and I don't even recognize the name, I block it, delete it, or report as spam. Like I don't even look at it.
Okay. Let me dig
LinkedIn
a little. Go ahead.
LinkedIn DM, it's a higher chance of it getting opened and seen, because now you're getting like a full picture of who that sender is,
Right.
right? And so you could go on their profile and you could check them out. And obviously, if it's a bot or a spam, then you just delete it.
Right.
But when you're able to send like voice memos very quickly,
Yep.
people are also like weary of clicking on links through email. So like
Hmm.
sending video or audio through LinkedIn is great. But then you could also see who the person is,
Yes.
put a face to it,
Yep.
and see if they're real. And if there's mutual connections, you could see that as well. So I am betting on LinkedIn DM.
Okay. And I was going to say, like, which one would you, but you already said it. So it's a LinkedIn DM. But by the way, Dave took it up a notch by saying it could be a video or a voice memo. Hopefully, you know how to do that. If not, you can reach out to either one of us and we can help you do that. All right. Question number 2, book, podcast, or resource you believe every sales pro should know.
So I'm a sales coach,
Yep.
and my focus and emphasis is on our money mindset and belief,
Yep.
which is not tactical or not logical or rational, but it's like all the belief system that we bring over, right? And in
Yep.
order to understand that, there is something happening right below the surface that you have to understand.
Okay.
And this is not a sales book, um, but it's a book that completely changed my life,
Okay.
and it's called Healing Back Pain.
Oh, okay.
Because in order to fix back pain, which is in my situation, I thought it was like a very logical thing, like make sure your back is straight and this and
Yeah.
that. But it all had to do with some of these underlying emotional dynamics that were actually causing that pain to happen.
Hmm.
And so a lot of people may have that same or similar physical ailment. And I'm not diagnosing anything over this podcast, but like
Right.
what I'm saying is like that book completely changed my perspective, not just on physical pain, but on like execution when it comes to business and
Okay.
sales as well,
I
right? It
love
helped
that.
me understand that it's you can't you can't it's so hard to do deep discovery with your client if you haven't done deep discovery with yourself first,
100% agree with that.
right?
100%
And
agree
so
with
if you're
that.
able to do that work yourself and understand that there is a deeper function, deeper layer to it, then you could drive the car and let your client be in the passenger seat, and you could drive that you could take them on that journey. But if
Love
you're
that.
not able to do that journey yourself, you won't be able to do it with them.
Yep. I think it goes to that phrase, which I've seen firsthand. Hurt people, but healed people heal people. I think if you can't
Mm.
help somebody unless you've done the work yourself. All right, next one. One sales myth you wish would disappear.
Salespeople are slimy and only thinking about themselves. Yes, there's a bunch of us out there that are like that, but I am trying to change the narrative. Sales is service. Sales is
Yes.
not manipulation. Sales is not coercion. Sales, in the truest form and fashion, is helping somebody solve a pain point in their life, and you are providing them a solution that is a bridge from their current situation to a future state.
Mm,
You are providing them a solution. So it is the salesperson's duty to actually provide that solution, make that call, because if you're not doing it, there are people that are stuck in their current position. And so when you reach out, yes, you are a salesperson. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. And yes, you are providing a solution and you want to help because that is your heart's deepest desire. You're
yeah.
not trying to make a quick buck off of somebody. And
Yeah.
that's why the the role and whatnot has such a bad rap,
Yeah.
right? But
Agreed.
but that's the myth I want to change is sales is not people trying to make a quick buck off of somebody. It's not a transaction. It's all relationship.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. All right, a recent spark of inspiration that has helped you could be anything. Doesn't have to be related to sales necessarily. Doesn't even have to be related to business. Could be from your kids. What's a recent spark of inspiration that's helped you?
I just made a post on this and so Jeremy Lin, I've been following his basketball career for
Yeah, I
since
saw that. I saw that
since
post.
since he
Yep.
left Harvard. I
Mhm.
followed him, and nobody gave him a chance because he doesn't look like your typical NBA basketball player.
Mhm.
And the most recent like spark of like inspiration that I've gotten is you could do you could reach your full potential plus more regardless of what you look like,
Mhm.
how you sound,
Preach.
what your background is from,
Yes.
what your education or lack thereof
Yes.
is. Like I don't none of us nobody cares about that, right? Go out there, do good things
Yeah.
and change the world for the better regardless of what you look like.
Amen to that.
Because I know I struggled with that growing up, being, you know, the person that doesn't look like everybody else.
Mhm.
And that slowed me down. And now I could give two craps about it,
Yeah, totally.
you know?
No F's to give about any of that anymore. I totally get that. So finish this sentence. The best salespeople I know always blank. Fill in the blank for me.
Think about others and help them discover a pain point that they did not even know existed.
I love that. All right, our very last question is I said this to you before we started. I disagree with Forrest Gump that life is like a box of chocolates. I say it's like a box of matches. So if you had one match in that matchbox that you could pull out and strike of all of the different things that you have, some of the stuff we've talked about today, what's the one match that you would say that's the one? If I didn't have any other ones, that's the one I would strike. What is it?
I want to say it's the subconscious uh, behavioral match.
Mm,
A lot of people don't know it's there.
yep.
A lot of people don't know that it's driving the ability for them to make good sound decisions.
Right.
They don't know that it's driving the show. Um, So I feel like I'm on a mission to strike that match and light
Mhm.
the room because I want people
Mhm.
to see it and go, this is something that a lot of people don't know exists or are not even familiar with.
Yeah.
And please focus on this because without that, you're going to continue to be on this path. And if you want to change in trajectory, you need to be able to understand that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Dave, I just want to say again, thank you so much for agreeing to come on. I actually met Dave for the first time face to face the day that he was giving his TED talk. I almost died on stupid Indiana roads because we had some freaky snowstorm. But I'm telling you this because I've seen this man in action. I've seen his material. I know how meticulous he is. I know how deep he's asking us to go, but I know that he has gone way deeper on his own. And so I cannot recommend this enough. With he knows what he's talking about because he's done the work himself. And to me, that's always a hallmark of somebody that I will trust on something is if they have done the work themselves. And I can honestly say that I have seen that Dave has done this. Dave, thank you so much for being a guest today. For those of you listening, like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. That's what helps us out, and it will continue to help the fire spread. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Jason Barnaby with the Sales Spark Podcast. Thanks so much.